Into some of our regular features now. Let's just start with our trending topics, and here they are. First up, hashtag Liverpool Everton, and that of course the Merseyside derby being played yesterday, and of huge significance because Liverpool of course chasing for league honours and Everton trying to avoid relegation this season, so it was a big one.
A very big one, and of course Liverpool jump into the victory on that one again.
Of course.
They are doing so well. They really,
if there's one thing Leanne will know, it's that Liverpool
It's Liverpool.
won.
I mean, I know nothing more than that I do know they won, and there was much happiness, and it was a 2-0 win.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard it all. So fantastic, well done.
Well, it certainly was, and of course keeping the chase up, the heat on log leaders Man City, who are a point ahead at this stage.
So I mean, no, is it not for this that I've taken my first bet?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Not for this?
No.
What have I taken a bet on?
It's for the FA Cup.
Okay, first time ever I've taken a football bet. Never done that before, so I'm actually going to put my money on the table and put a bet down for Liverpool.
And you'll be glad to know that I have nothing to do with it.
You have nothing to do with it, but you did warn the opponent.
I warned the opponent that you would win. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so Paris, and this obviously has to do with the election that took place in Paris. President Macron winning over there, and it was I suppose, many are questioning all of it, and that always happens in the case of elections, but so basically coming through yesterday, it was a Macron for victory, and he is the president once again. He beat the far-right candidate Marine Le Pen to win the French presidency. So the numbers, I think, were the centrist took 58% of the vote to her 42% in a narrower victory than their previous contest in 2017. So that was
I was going to say, and before that, how many times have Marine Le Pen actually lost an election?
Yeah.
Pretty much, she kind of reminds me of, remember that candidate in the US, Ross Perot. He was always just there, like, never wins, but always there.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
And not even.
Well, that was the story. So 44 years old, Macron now. Now he is 44 years old, so goodness me. All right, so he is French president, and this makes history, just to let you know, by becoming the first French president to be re-elected in 20 years. So well done to him.
Moving on to Prasa. Now, this was started by some communication that was put out by the KwaZulu-Natal government. Now, this is the graphic that caused all the talk around Prasa.
Sure,
KZN flood disaster financial implications. And top line there is Prasa. And people looked at this and they're like, you must be kidding. How does it get to a point where you have almost R1 trillion worth of damage to Prasa? 348,500,000
well
is
done.
the amount.
Congratulations. How did you read that? Because for me in the beginning when I saw that graphic, it was not about even attempting to read it. I was trying to figure out, what is that number? Like, what are we dealing with here?
Count the number of zeros.
Talk to me about the zeros here. So you did it well.
Yeah. So, and then people started asking questions and, talking about how is this even possible? Because if you look at the South African budget, if you look at the entire nation's expenditure for the 2022 financial year, I think it comes to about 6 trillion.
Yes.
So,
how
a sixth of that
must go now there.
You've got to be kidding. Anyway, there has been some communication now, I see, from the KwaZulu-Natal government saying that was an error in reporting on the Prasa figures, and the cost estimate of resumption of service is actually 955,449,000. So not a billion, not a trillion, but rather more like closer to $1 billion, not $1 trillion. And the total estimated damages comes to around 17 billion, they are saying at this stage.
How do you make a mistake like this?
It's maybe the number of zeros.
Yeah, but No.
I don't know.
And this is off an official account. This is not from, anybody else, but this was from the provincial, the KwaZulu-Natal province's account. So, people see this and take this very, very seriously when you do hear that. You've got to be very careful with what you put out there. You really, really do. And if you can't count your zeros on social media, believe me, people are counting them for you. So just be very, very careful. So they've since, I see, deleted it and issued this apology, but still, and as it is, it all comes with so many question marks and worry from South Africans that money is not going to reach its intended beneficiaries. And then adding a few zeros on doesn't help as well. All right, so Oprah, next trend. So this was all about an interview that she did with Viola Davis. And I haven't watched it yet, I must confess. I am dying to watch it because apparently it is just absolutely beautiful, and people are just talking to this interview and just I suppose celebrating two phenomenal women. But I think it all has to do with the book that Viola Davis is bringing out, and this is sort of just the pre-release and interview, and people are just absolutely loving it. So there you go. Indeed. And if ever you want to sell a book, you let Oprah interview you. There you go. The chances of her doing that, yeah, don't know. And there was also Viola Davis's talk. Now apparently she was playing Michelle Obama. She's taken on the role of Michelle Obama. So that was another reason, and it's called The First Lady. And I don't know if people, not that I'm dampening this interview, but I'm not sure people were too excited with watching the preview of it, of Viola Davis's interpretation of Michelle Obama. So I'm quite keen to see that as well. There's lots coming up. Yeah. So that's Oprah with Viola Davis there. And the final hashtag Cotton Fest 2022. And this was a big one over the weekend. And, really feel good for me in the sense that it gets us feeling kind of normal again, where people went out in their numbers for Cotton Fest. This is, of course, a festival where you have local artists, about 100 of them over 3 stages, and, just the best of local, the hip-hop fraternity out in full force. And, of course, slight dampener was, of course, the loss of Ricky Rick. Casper Nyovest, for example, saying that Ricky Rick was going to bring him out as a surprise. But of course, people going gaga over so many of the acts, especially AKA. Apparently, he was amazing. So people loved Nasty C, all of the guys out there. People loved it. Wonderful. It's so nice to see people out and about, and the arts and music alive again, and people just having some fun. So there we go. That's your trending topics for this morning.